Good afternoon and welcome to Your Longest Life, the podcast about living your best life to 100 and beyond. And today I have an exciting guest with me. Her name is Kerry Pearce, and Kerry is the manager at Long Lake Chateau. You're the director of sales?
Yes.
There you are.
Community sales director.
Awesome. Welcome, Kerry. How are you?
I'm great today. Thanks, Ian. How are you?
Good. You're staying warm. It's a snowstorm here in Nanaimo today.
It is. It's trying its hardest, but it's not getting anywhere. So it's just nice.
Our version of a snowstorm, right? Our version.
Yes.
Having lived in Winnipeg, we know that about long winters. So today I wanted to talk to Kerry about living in a retirement home. I mean, there's a lot of threads we can pull on that for people that are at a certain point in their life and they're thinking, I've been in my house for 30 years. It's just enough for me. I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather go somewhere where, people are cooking for me and people are just organizing my life more rather than me doing it myself. Do you find there's typical reasons when people come to see you about making a transition that you hear more often?
Definitely. The top two reasons are not either get tired of cooking, maybe when they're a couple and the wife passes away, the husband's left behind, she's always done all the cooking, he's now struggling to eat nutritional balanced meals. So number one is looking for someone to do the cooking for them. Number two is loneliness. So especially during the pandemic, more and more of our seniors are in isolation. And I've learned that the top two ways for someone's quality of life to spiral downward in a very fast manner is improper nutrition or lack of socialization. So those are the reasons why people walk through my door or pick up the phone and call us, and it's why they eventually make the move to a retirement living environment.
And do you find people, Kerry, going, well, there's 3 or 4 in town, how do I decide one over another?
Yes, I'd like to say that there's 5 large communities like Long Lake Chateau in the North End. And I often, I say, basically we all offer the same things: cooking, cleaning, entertaining, and shuttling. But there are differences. And one top difference is that I find varies from community to community is the meal service. So when somebody is considering moving somewhere where their meals are included, often there's not a lot of consideration given to how important the food service is. So reality is you're eating in the same restaurant 3 times a day, every single day. So if you aren't happy with maybe the flavors or the way the food is prepared or how many choices you have, it can become something that is daunting. And I just got off the phone with somebody who's looking to move because they are not happy with the food. So it's something that is really important, and I don't think a lot of people consider it enough how important it is. Yeah.
How do you? Is there an age that you would say the average? How old is the average person who lives at Long Lake Chateau?
We find average is about 85. I mean, it fluctuates. Right now, our youngest resident is 59. Our oldest is 104. She just turned 104.
104. Cool. How many people do you have over 100?
I think we've got about 4. We've got 4 that have celebrated their 100th birthdays. So, which is always, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we don't have big parties right now. But when we do have had a 100th birthday, it's usually a really big celebration. So that's something great. And as we know, age is just a number. So it's more, when's the right time for somebody? It's it's different case by case. I always like to coach people and advise that they make the move before they absolutely have to. The number one reason is moving is one of the top 5 stressors in someone's life for any age. So for someone who's a senior and maybe somebody who's been in their home 30, 40, 50 years,
Yes.
it's an extremely difficult and stressful process to go through. So making that transition when you still feel good, you're not, battling with maybe mobility issues, or you have other ailments that make you not feel well. You want to do that, make that transition when you're still in control of it yourself, and no one else is forcing you to move.
Right.
For example, say you fell and hurt yourself and you end up in the hospital, and they start asking questions about where are you living, who's there to help, how many stairs do you have. So the number one reason is to move when it's your choice and you're in control of it.
Let's talk about the just from personal experience with my parents, the role that the children play and the friction that happens there. Let's be honest. Sometimes I might think my mom and dad need to move, and they're like, "Why don't you have a good day and just don't worry about us?" But you haven't eaten right, and the food's not good in the fridge, and
Yes,
we're getting not good signs here, right? Like, how do you?
It is really, really difficult. That dynamic where you're the adult child and they are your parents. They are still your parents, and in their mind you're still their child. So how dare you tell them what to do? And it's that weird sort of desert, I don't know, like no man's land, where when that transition is changing, when you actually become the parent, and they kind of have to start taking your lead. So, and especially I find with older generations, like the ones that are 80 or 90, that they get stuck in their ways, and they know best. So it is a real challenging, difficult time in that relationship. And sometimes there's hard conversations that have to be made, and it's about tough love and enabling your parents to stay in an environment that's not safe. And today's children, adult children, are extremely busy. We work full time. They have their own families, their own commitments, probably 2 dogs and a cat. And, so to add in aging parents and having to layer all of that responsibility on is a recipe for disaster. I like to say to people, tough love is still love. And sometimes that's what it takes, is removing yourself from the situation and letting that person realize that how they are really not independent, because they are relying on you to bring the food and their grandson to cut the lawn and a housekeeper to come in every week, right? So it's a real hard situation. I feel for anyone in that position, actually.
So do you have a role in that? Are you a mediator? Or are you sort of, they're over here and I'm over here, I'm in the middle, Kerry's like, okay, how do we?
Yeah, a lot of the times it's harder for them to say no to me.
Okay.
I don't know them, they don't know me, that we don't have any history, there's no family dynamics.
Right.
I can ask the hard questions, and it's not going to, if they never talk to me again, it's not going to be, devastating or cause a big rift in the family. So a lot of the times, with families, we can kind of strategize before we all meet. I take the lead from the adult children that are looking to move mom and dad, or mom or dad. And we kind of strategize and decide the best sort of plan of attack. But a lot of the times is just being in front of somebody that they don't know, and I can ask those real hard questions. And I've been doing this almost 6 years now, so there's no objection I've not heard before. So
right.
That's the biggest way that I can help a family that's in that sort of stuck in that position.
Is one of the concerns that people have, how will I know I'm going to fit in here? I mean, we all want to fit somehow,
It
don't
is.
we?
You know, I always say your first day, you know, in the dining room,
Yeah.
it's like your first day of school. It just boggles my mind that it doesn't change. It doesn't
Right.
change. It doesn't matter if you're 6 years old or 86 years old.
That's great.
When you walk into a room full of people, they all stare and they look and they want to know who you are. And we have a lot of great support staff here that help residents on
Yeah, say
board.
more about that. What's that like? Like, what does that look like?
So we call it their best first day ever. So, you know, somebody moves in, we kind of give them their space and let them get settled. And then we do an orientation with them. Our hospitality director, Brenna, will meet with the resident, go over a number of different information. And then the following days, during their first week, our management team will come and meet with the residents. So the chef will come with cookies and sit in the apartment with the resident and find out what their dietary concerns are, if they have any allergies, you know, what they like, what they don't like, followed by the maintenance director. And then the most important is the Engaged Life coordinator, Johnny. So Johnny's role is to, he creates and he leads the programs, the activities and events that we have. And he's, between him and Brenna, you know, they're the ones that are there for the residents to help them find a new seat in the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
Great survey called Learn, Do, Try. It's pretty extensive, and we really get to learn as much as we can about the residents. Then that way we can pair them with other residents in the community that we know have similar interests, or maybe they were both born in the same region in Germany, or you know, they speak German, they like to golf, or they like watching football. So that's you know, that's sort of our program for orientating new residents. But the dining room is tough, but it doesn't take long. And our residents are so warm and welcoming. I mean, they all remember their first day. Well, most of them remember their first day.
Right, of course. Of course. And how many residents do you have?
We have approximately 120 right now, but we have 114 apartments, 12 or 2 bedrooms. So, and some residents are there. We do have some couples in 1 bedroom. So that really, it fluctuates between 120 and 125, and based on how many couples we have living with us.
So I've been with my parents. We've made the decision. Okay, yes, this is going to happen. How long is that from? You know, it's February 10th today. Is it 3 months or 4 months? What is the actual process?
So it depends on current availability. So for example, we've been extremely busy since June, when we started allowing move-ins again.
Okay.
You know, currently I have an apartment available in this month. So somebody could, you know, walk in today and move in tomorrow if they wanted. But typically, you know, it depends on what their needs are. So my standard 1-bedroom apartment, I have 58. So if that's what someone's looking for, the odds of them moving in 2 months, 3 months max is very good. If somebody gets very specific, I want 600 square feet overlooking the lake on the first floor, that could take some time. But we also have other ways of, you know, offering someone who's has urgency to move into one apartment, and then we have an internal wait list, and our residents get first right of refusal.
Oh,
so
I see.
Move to another apartment, and it's a much easier internal move than moving
Right.
from a house that they've been in for 50 years.
So it's prudent then to think that far in advance, isn't it? Even though it's March or it's February right now, even if I'm not planning on moving until the fall or next year, it's not too soon to come and see you.
2 or 3 years. I have no, it doesn't bother me I always believe that at this stage of the game, things can change very quickly, like overnight, things
Right.
can change. You know, I don't like to use scare tactics, but reality is when you're 85, a fall can be, that could be changing.
Yes.
So I always encourage people to come in. Now, it's not often that I have a vacant apartment, so it's an opportunity to get in, take a look. Let's tour around the community. Let's look at some apartments. I'll give you all the information that you need. And you can have it in just in the back pocket so that when and if something should happen where you need to, you know, make a change very quickly, at least you're sort of ahead of the game. You've done your legwork, you know, you've looked around at 2 or 3 communities and you've chosen the one that's right for you. So many people leave it and they haven't done that and they're just absolutely scrambling. And the sad thing is they end up living somewhere where they're not happy. And these years, people deserve to be happy for these years.
Isn't that true? Yeah, you do deserve to be happy.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And it's, you know, they're hard years for most people. So you might as well eat good food and have a good time when you're doing it.
And you mentioned loneliness here, and I'm just thinking in my mind, the social opportunities are endless. Is that
They
the right
really
way to
are.
describe
I mean, you don't have to be, you don't have to socialize if you're an introvert, that's fine. But the human psyche, we need to have connection, human connection with other people. So somebody who isn't all that social, as long as they're coming to the dining room for 2 meals a day and
Right.
sitting across the table from somebody and having some conversation, that fills the need. That, you know, and that's enough. However, the ones that really are social and want to be busy and keep active, there's endless opportunities. And the great thing about our social programs is, you know, they change based on who's living in the community. So, and that fluctuates. Sometimes we have, you know, a big group of people who like to do crafts. Sometimes we have more men, so we're doing more sports activities. Yeah. It's a little bit different right now because we're not allowed to have outside entertainment in, which everyone is looking forward to as soon as that. We did have a little bit in the summer when we could do it outside, so we're really looking forward to having that again. That's for sure.
What about another question is, how long can I stay there? Like, what about extended health? My health is deteriorating. It happens. Do I have to move out after a certain point?
Earlier, you had asked about what the difference is between the communities. So we are independent retirement living. You'll hear of assisted living, you'll hear of long-term care. So the differences between the three is, at an independent living community, we don't have home care or nurses on our staff. Whereas assisted living and long-term care, they provide home support, and at the long-term care, they would provide nursing. So when you move to an independent retirement living community and you do start needing a bit of help, then you have the freedom of choice to go and get that help from wherever
I see.
you want. So it could be a family member, it could be a private provider like Nurse Next Door, or what most people do is they'll go through the Vancouver Island Health Authority through their Nanaimo Home and Community Care. So some people have that already set up at home before they move here. Some people move here, they're in great shape, and as they age and things change, then they get that support. So the great thing about independent living is you can live here as long as you get the help you need. For example, we had a lady who lived here, she lived here for 10 years. It got to the point where she needed someone with her 24 hours a day. So she made the arrangements, and then she stayed with us for another year. I mean, that is extremely expensive.
Yes.
But the point is, it can happen. So the benefit for a couple coming to an independent community is that they can stay together a lot longer. Not often do we age at the same rate, and people, it changes where, you know, the sad reality is that we have some residents that live here and some that are then their partners are in long-term care.
I
So
see.
yeah, so that's, you know, in an independent building, couples get to stay together a lot longer because they can get the help that they need. And when it comes to a point where it's not safe for someone to live here, then, you know, those are conversations that are had.
But they're allowed to bring people in. They're allowed to hire a nurse next door, or just as an
Yeah.
example, as you said.
Yeah, so they have the choice of where they get the help that they need.
So let's get back to the just a couple more questions. I know you're busy. The transition process when someone says I want to move in and they're on their own, there are people that can help them move, isn't there? Like,
There absolutely is. So, you know, those are some of the questions that I ask when I'm talking to people. You know, what does your plan look like? And I refer to realtors, and I refer to downsizing specialists,
right.
mostly to help with the pack and the move, but also they end up being almost like counselors too. So it is such a difficult transition for a lot of people that have been in their home for many years, and sometimes they've lost somebody. So you're also going through things of their loved ones, and you know, it is a process. So we help, you know, we can make referrals to realtors, to downsizing specialists, to movers, any variety of support that we can offer to them. We're happy to do that.
Okay, so they're not alone.
They are not. They, you know, we can be there with them every step of the way, because, you know, sad thing is sometimes people don't have any family. They don't have anyone else out there to do it. So they're, you know, they're relying on strangers. And my role, you know, I kind of become their advisor, and you know, you build trust with them. So you can't just, okay, here's your apartment keys and walk out the door. It just sometimes it, you know, sometimes it works like that and sometimes it doesn't. So we're here with them every step of the way.
That's great. Well, thank you, Kerry. That's been wonderful. Kerry Pearce is the Director of Sales at Long Lake Chateau. And Kerry, how do we reach out to you? What's the best way to connect with you?
Oh, you can give us a call at 250-756-1411 or visit our website, www.longlakeschateau.ca.
Thanks very much. And stay warm, Kerry.
You too, Ian.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.